All right, we are live. We are live. Listen, I got to tell you, I say this every time that I'm so excited with this next guest that's about to come on stage here. But I'm just telling you, I always get so excited because everyone that I know or happen to be, I like to call friends of mine and people that I've come across in my travels, and also because when I think about this topic, I think, man, who would be good for this? And then I ask them, and boom, they say they're going to do it. And the same thing happened with this guest. And I think she is perfect for this topic. We met, probably 2.5, 3 years ago. We were looking for an HR director for a hotel we were opening in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And the GM, I can't take credit for finding her. The GM found her along with some other candidates. And said, "Hey, I think you should talk to these three individuals." And I talked to this person, and he said when he emailed me, he said, "We got a superstar." And I met her within minutes, superstar, and quite frankly, overqualified for the job. Like she was an HR director in our market at another hotel, but I knew this woman was destined for greatness. I knew she was going to do more than just be at one property. Like she was going to handle so much more, and we've stayed in touch. There was a couple opportunities where I reached out to her again, turned me down because she had something bigger and better going on. But that's okay. We continue to stay in touch. And she did. She's like, VP. Next time I reach out to her, then next time I talk to her, I'm like, wait, what? Chief HR officer? Wow. So I can't wait to be able to have some time with you to talk about this, but also just see what's going on. What else has been happening with you? So will you please help me welcome Yasmeen Duncan, everybody. I'm just so excited for you to be here. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for that introduction and story. I'm doing well. I'm blessed to be here. I feel very grateful and honored to be in a position where I could truly add value. I can work autonomously and I can represent where there is low representation.
Awesome. So let's start by telling the group, yes, I did say a lot about you, but not. I was talking about how much I just enjoy our opportunity to get together. But tell them a little bit more about you. You got this other business that you are this other organization aside from the job you have that you're doing that I just think is the coolest. So tell our audience a little bit about yourself. We'll get into work life balance. So start with that, and then we can ease into work life balance.
Okay, awesome. So, Yasmeen Duncan again. I've been in human resources for 19 years. I worked in a myriad of different industries, everything that you can name, from startup to hospitality, hotels, fashion, high-end fashion, right? Retail HR for the longest time, and then also beauty, which you could probably imagine. And now I'm in the food space at Magnolia Bakery as their chief people officer. In addition to being a global head of human resources, I also have a nonprofit organization called the Sisterhood Society for Women of Color. We launched officially in January 2020, and we ran for a good year and a half. With a board and all. We were in nonstop conferences, online, IG lives, you name it, that we ended up taking a little bit of a hiatus. We came back and relaunched this year for Black History Month. And our focus and core mission is to be a resource hub. When I think about my career, 19 years in human resources, the one thing that I did not have was a blueprint of how do I level up? How do I navigate this career journey? Because I didn't have anyone who looked like me. And oftentimes, or about every time, I was the only Black female and the youngest person in the executive teams. I came into management very early in my career, literally starting from the age of 21. So you could imagine. And so the Sisterhood Society, when we say we want to be a resource hub, what does that mean? I want to provide Black women and women of color a blueprint of the how-tos to level up in their career step by step. I want to give them what I did not have. And that's everything from navigating not only being the only at work, but how do you leverage your position being a person of color, right? Where that shouldn't be a deficit. That should be something that you step into. How do you navigate salary negotiation? How do you build a community? How do you build your, as I like to say, your real estate team at work and your personal board of directors to ensure that you're building the proper relationships to take you to the next level? So this is some of the things that we provide and educate our community on. And I'm super excited because even though we've been around since 2020, we've never had a launch event. And so finally, so I got to put in the plug.
Go ahead.
Saturday, July 13th,
Wow.
we are officially finally having our launch event. It's going to be at Pace University. That is our new partner. We have a partnership with them with some things that we're going to be launching out, not only this year, but next. So I'm excited about the partnerships and sponsorships that we have coming forward. We have an amazing panelist of subject matter experts, Black women who have done it and also are aligned with our mission to provide the blueprint to getting to the next step and the next level.
And I say this on every call. I go, Brandy, see what I'm talking about? See what I'm saying? So there's a couple of things that come to mind when I heard that. So you all heard all of the things that she's been doing, and there's a couple of things that come to my mind. One, as a leader in HR, I have a number of HR practitioners that report into me, and I tell them all the time, we are so busy. I know everybody out there says, "Oh, HR, you're protecting the business," and "Oh, HR, you're the principal's office." No, we're not all that. We are out there trying to be a advocate for all of you and be a business partner. But what I know we are guilty of is that we don't put that oxygen mask on ourselves. We put it on everybody else. We never put it on ourselves and take care of ourselves. We're always just taking care of this, taking care of that, taking care of this. And so hearing all of the things that you do, I want to hear about what work-life balance means to you, because I know you're in the world of HR. And also, I heard you say, you had to take a pause. And I know that was not easy for someone like you. I know you, girl. And I know that was not an easy decision to make because, I'm out there, I got to take care of everybody, similarly to what we do in HR. So what does work-life balance mean to you? And why do you think it's important in today's, work environment?
Absolutely. Great question. Work-life balance, I think, is important, but I think it's really about work-life harmony that's realistic. I think that's really realistic to what can truly be achieved. I will tell you, and I was just speaking about this in another conversation, I was queen of hustle culture. And before I get into that story, the one thing that I forgot to mention is that I'm also currently getting my second master's, my MBA, and I'm actually actively in school with everything I told y'all I got going on. And so how do you manage it all? To your question, it's taking care of my internals. It's prioritizing my well-being. I think you hit on something that is so poignant, especially for mid-level senior executive leaders. We're busy, developing our teams, doing all the things, driving towards meeting company objectives. We're doing a lot of external, but that level of internal development that you need to maintain and stay in the position where you are, we don't do, because we're busy caught up in the hustle and the bustle. And what got me out of hustle culture was COVID. And so the blessing that I think COVID provided and all the destruction that it provided was getting us to stand still. See, when you're not busy, you have to stand still and deal with you. And when you're dealing with you, it's just like, wait, I got this going on. Now I have time to think and sit with myself, right? I got time to sort. So 2021, I started to debunk and have that process of self-care, of what that looks like beyond manicures and pedicures and spa appointments. What is that realistically? What is self-care for my internal state? And what do I need? And so I took it up a level, and I have a coach. I shout her out on every podcast because, listen, this woman has revitalized my life. When in COVID, I started reading a lot, right? And when you look at really successful people, they read, what are their habits? I want to have those habits. I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos. They all have coaches. quite frankly, they got a coach for every area. Got a financial coach, got a self-care coach, got therapists, we could go on and on. Well, I want a coach, but what kind of coach should I have based on my future self? Right? We have, as executives, as HR leaders, we have action plans that we help manage employees through. But what's the action plan that you have in place for your own life? That is also my challenge. HR for me is not a career, it's not a job, it's purposeful work, it's divine meaning. And so HR for me, I take the same tools and principles that we do in HR and I do them for myself. What is my action plan for this year? What are my opportunities? What things do I need to work on? And based on my future self, where I see myself and the things that I want to have in my hands, what I want to see in my accounts, things I want to see moving into fruition, how do I need to position myself today to meet my future self? The coach that I needed was a well-being coach. So that's how I got there. I did that exercise. And what she does and what she did for me was help me to prioritize, back to your question, land a plane. What she helped did for me is prioritize my well-being, identify what are the toxic ideologies that I have of hustle. How can I not work from a place of hustle and work from a place of abundance? Let me give you an example. How do you do that realistically? Well, take for instance today, when I wake up in the morning, before I wake up thinking of all the things I got to do, looking at my calendar, maybe send a quick emails. It's 4:30 in the morning. Keep that in mind. I may be able to schedule it to go out later. Now, because I'm functioning from a place of well-being, I'm saying, okay, I have a lot to do today. It's a busy day. Got it. Let me do some breathing, just some 8 counts. Then I'm saying, how do I want to feel at the end of this today? Do I want to feel like accomplished? I want to feel like full, like good workout, good work, but I want to have ease, copy. So maybe I don't need to have 12 meetings today. Maybe I realistically need to have a good 6 meetings, and I could spread the rest of that out, and that would help me achieve my goal, because we're always working towards a goal, but we need to have a self goal when you're prioritizing well-being of how I want to feel at the end of the day. And so that's how I prioritize myself, my wellness, and I function from a place of abundance and not hustle. And that's how you maintain in all the 1,000 things you have to do. Because I now have abundance in my schedule, because I'm managing my time differently, and I'm prioritizing my well-being, I now can do more than I would if I was functioning from a state of hustle, run, go. Back to back. Don't go to lunch. Eat at your desk. What are we doing here? When you're functioning from a place of depletion, you can't do as much.
Woo! Well, I took lots of notes. As someone, here's dinner. I just got off of a call to get on this one, and guess who was having dinner right in front of their computer? Guess who sent out the reminder for this event? You probably saw my post on LinkedIn. Probably need to take some notes since I'm sending this on Father's Day from the airport lounge. So thank you. I took a bunch of notes, and I'm going to continue on. So Brandy, just jump in. I still got to finish.
Yeah. I want to honor our question order if you want to, but I'm itching to talk about. Okay.
Do your thing, Brandy.
So when you talk about this work, life harmony, and then working with a coach, if you don't mind sharing, what were some of the specific challenges that you needed to work through that you all identified, and how did you overcome them, or how are you managing them?
Excellent question. So I had to identify what is the thing that I'm a doer, never going to change. Clearly, I'm a doer, right? I like to achieve things. That's like really important to me. It helps me to feel full and good and like accomplished. But the biggest hurdle that I had in the aha moment was that productivity doesn't mean that I'm internally stable.
Yes.
And productivity does not mean wellness.
Yeah.
You can have all the degrees, you can have all the accomplishments. My resume is about to be 4 pages long, but if I'm not whole, doesn't matter. Right? I had to have a mindset shift. And so it took me a while to get out of like, oh wait, I'm back to like, because I checklist. I'm a planner. If I should my planner, you'd be like, what in the world? Every line is filled out. Red pen, blue pen. I got color coordinated systems, post-its, the whole thing. So I need to be constantly checking stuff. Like, I had a good day. I checked this off. I checked this off. And I can get back easily. For me, I do recognize that I can easily get back into doing versus being.
Yes.
So the balance in that is I do need to do things, but I don't need to prioritize doing things over my state of being when I am doing those things, while I'm doing those things, and when those things are completed. I always need to have self-check. So to the second part of your question, it's rituals. Rituals is how I put this stuff in place. When I get up in the morning, I'm a morning person. I think after working in hotels, I don't think I'll ever get my clock back right. I'm still waking up because listen, overnights, investigations, listen, I was at work at 3 a.m., 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I like the uninterrupted time. So I naturally wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock every single day. Like on a Saturday, I'm up. Sundays, I'm up. And so for me, it's quiet time, but that doesn't mean I can do things for my being. So when I get up in the morning, I just breathe, just really deep breaths, hold, let it out. And okay, how do I feel? How I'm like doing this with my fingers, like how I'm really like really reflecting, sitting in that moment internally. How do I feel? Is my head clear? Is there anything on my mind? Then I have prayer. That's important to me. It helps me get my head ready for the day. I may listen to some inspirational music, whatever, getting ready. And then I start with my day. When I'm going to work, sure, I may check emails, but it's about managing your time, right? So I have to do a lot of things. There's always people I have to follow up with. On the way to work is usually calls, right? Check-ins, got to maintain those relationships, right? Also while maybe checking some emails, right? And so that's how I manage my time. But again, I'm naturally a doer. So how do I meet that? So Saturday mornings, I hear a lot like, oh my gosh, you post a lot. How do you do all this? You're posting nonstop. I have a scheduler. Like I literally met with my PR team. Hey, talk to me about how do you do content? How do you manage content? How do you schedule content? Oh, wow, you use Later and all these different systems. Yeah, I got those apps, got those systems. It showed me how to use it. I use that for my own personal leadership brand. And when I'm up early in the morning, I prayed all week, did all the breathing, all the things. Sure, we could get up, pray, or get up and do some breathing. But I do on Saturday mornings. So that 4:30 to 7:30 window, I'm doing content. I got my content already mapped out till September. Let's go. Right?
I love that.
So, man, you can do it all.
Yeah.
But how are you managing your time? How are you bucketing your time? I will always have an insatiable need to do. I don't have to cancel it, but it's the balance of it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. This resonates with me so much because I'm a former workaholic, very ambitious, like you, 2 master's degrees, just achieving, ambition, success. And then I had to stop myself and say, like, why? Why are you doing all this? And making sure that the path that I was going on was in alignment with who I wanted to actually be. And so, like, I think this is beautiful. Like, I literally just downloaded a social media content calendar. I was looking at Later. So this is like really, at least for me, I'm being very selfish right now. This is right on time for me. So I'm gonna switch gears. I mean, I don't know, Vic, did you want to say anything?
Brandy, take it away. Oh, well, real quick, let me jump in and say something we didn't say it at the top.
Okay.
Is let's let our listeners know that this is from the Careers and Collaborations Community of Practice group that Brandy and I champion and run for the Society for Diversity. So I got so excited with Yasmeen coming on, I forgot why we were here. And so we have a LinkedIn group page under Careers and Collaborations for the Society of Diversity. And You're a guest on this group. So I just want everybody to know, those that might be new to this group page, that know any one of us that have been following us that hopped on here, that are listening in or watching the recording later, because I know we're going to take that link and send it out to family and friends. So that's what this is for. Go ahead, Brandy. Take it. Well, now that's the end of our infomercial. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can I just say something to you? Because we relating. I feel the vibes. But I will tell you, because it is that question, because I have gotten that question. I'm sure you probably did, because you said you asked yourself, like, why do I keep like achieving? It was like next goal, super ambitious. And sometimes people can try to coach to that, like there's something wrong with it. If there's an insecurity you're trying to meet. And I think that could be a very real thing. But I think another side that people don't consider, because I've gotten that question. And for me, it's I am possible. I can't tell you how many people I am possible. Two, I have the capacity for it. My capacity is bar none. The amount of things that I can navigate terrain through and be fine, right? And people don't get to see what that looks like. Like, you can navigate through and terrain through a lot as a whole person, as a connected to yourself woman, and have ease.
Yes. I'm all about ease in this new chapter of my life. And I used to think this was a curse for me. And I've realized that it is now a gift, because I have the ability to, like, once I'm aligned on something, nobody's gonna outwork me. Like, that's what it is. And it's not even in a sort of in a negative way. It's just like you said, you have the capacity, you have the passion, and then because of that, I can be very creative. So I love, like I said, I love everything you're saying. It's really resonating with me. Yes, it's like validation. So yeah,
it's so good, so good. You were gonna ask me something.
Yeah. So just kind of, I guess, switching gear, like a different hat. Just in your role, how do you feel employers should help employees achieve that sort of harmony when it comes to work and life and juggling everything?
I think it's having a different level of investment, right? Like, I look at human resources, at least from that lens, as this is like personalized care, right? Like, I'm entrusted with people who are in my charge at this company, but everything for me is divine meeting. All the people that could have been in this role, this position, they were interviewing people who were CPOs before. This is my first CPO role. This is who I'm up against.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be me.
Absolutely.
And for the things that I'm doing for myself to maintain as a leader, how much more does my team need it, my direct team, and or the teams that are in my charge, when I'm seeing the fruits and effects of it? So I think as people leaders or as executives, it's important that we ensure that we are supporting, aiding, and empowering our direct team members, or again, third-party teams or whatever, to take this agency. I'm very big on agency. Has been the word of the season for the last 3 years. You need to step into agency for yourself. And I'll give you an example. Every team check-in that I have, we have a bi-weekly meeting. Hey, I see no one still has PTO on the calendar. What's going on? When are you taking off? Hey, when are you going to leave early? You want to leave early a day this week? Right? And again, when you're doing what you need to do, I'm not micromanaging. There's no need for that. That's ineffective leadership. That's not how I should be leveraging my time, my space, my effort, and my energy. I manage with a very long leash. That changes should you not be having the output of performance that's required, that I require, right? But when you're doing what you need to do, it's long leash city, right? Because at the bottom line is the work is getting done. And so empowering them to use their time, to take the time, having well-being checks. How are you feeling? I instantly pick up on energy. I'm a ball of energy. I recognize my energy is very strong. It can bring life into the room, it could suck the air out. I do recognize that. But because I'm in tune to recognize my own energy, I can read the energy of others.
Mhm.
So very in tune with how my team is functioning, where their energy levels are. And if sometimes you just need a session, let's check in. Tell me what's going on. What's next for you? What's next for you doesn't include what you want to do in the company. Sure, we talk about that. But here's my thing. I'm a transformational leader.
Mhm.
I'm an inspirational leader. I want to know that I'm setting you up for life after this. I want to know that I got you to think bigger. I got you to challenge yourself higher, that I got you to believe in what you don't see today. That's important. And as leaders, we should have that want. We should make the space to guide our teams in that way and to care at a higher level.
I hope you're teaching a master class on this.
You know what? I should.
You should teach a master. Let me tell you, I've been in management. I've had leadership positions. You're a unicorn. Just you're a unicorn. Like, I could go on, but this is about you. It's not about me and my experiences.
Yasmeen, you just knocking it out of the park. Thank you so.
Seriously. Like, I think this intersection of like leadership and management, and then I love everything that you said about agency and being invested in the people under your charge or under your care in a way, right? And in wanting to set them up to think about the big picture. Like, we're here now, but there is so much more for you. And I need you to be thinking about that. And I want to help you with that. So that was beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I receive it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Please receive. I hope you feel it. I really hope you feel this, because baby, my accent, I'm from Louisiana. My accent's going to come out. I don't want it to come out.
Oh, you're from Louisiana. My club, baby. Yeah, my closest friends, I'm telling you. They're all from New Orleans. The irony. Like, literally, all three of my closest friends.
Oh my God. That's
so
awesome.
funny.
That's awesome.
Cool. Let me excuse me, ladies. Can I jump in for just a second? I appreciate the love. Hey, here I want to talk about the impact of remote work, right? COVID, we all jumped into that. Right. You're in New York, I believe. Yeah. Last time we talked, and Brandy's out in California. I'm in Florida, so it's wonderful, right? That we're able to still do this. And I'm curious to know what you have seen in terms of what this has done to work-life balance, remote work, working remote, and what has that done? What have you seen change? And what are you doing about it, if anything, from a leadership standpoint, from what your role is and what our role is? What have you seen, and what are you doing, if anything, about the impact that has done?
Sure. Remote work is challenging. The truth of the matter is, and I don't think this is something that people talk about enough, remote workers, people say, oh, if people who work remote, are they really working?
Yeah.
I mean, you could look at the productivity, right? Sure. You have companies that are getting applications and platforms where they can scan and see the productivity levels, like how long employees are on certain sites and how long their work computer is on, right? So their companies are doing that, but it does breed the question, do you trust your employees? Does that align with your values, right? So you got those questions. And is it a reality that you have maybe remote workers that are not as productive? Sure. But I don't think it should be challenged that because they're remote, they may not be working. You then also have remote workers who are working, and they're working considerably more than they would should they be going into the office. And how do you manage that?
Yeah, and let's hone in on that, because I that actually is more what I'm concerned about. I had my hat on, just talking HR talk, but let's talk about that, because there's more of that going on, right? That the individuals, myself included, are you're always just on, right? Doesn't matter. You can quickly toggle from your couch on your phone over to a work email, and there you are responding and doing stuff. So what are some strategies we can tell to our listeners about what they can do, even though you're remote and you have that ability? What are some strategies they should employ to do better from a work-life balance standpoint?
Absolutely. Time blockers. I believe in them.
Mm.
If you have Microsoft Office, Teams, you can put like focus times. Don't just do a whole 8-hour sprint of meetings. And just because someone sends you a meeting doesn't mean you need to accept.
Mm.
I need a minute. 8 to 10. This is my, like, in my remote, because I'm hybrid. So when I am remote, 8 to 10 is a block time. Unless it's an employee request or an actual leadership meeting, that time is catch up time. That time is, I already did my morning routine. I'm ready to go, but I'm setting up my day now, right? Have blocks of time, 30 minutes, 15-minute windows between meetings, because you need the chance to breathe. Just take a minute, step away from your computer, right? That's super important. I forgot where I put them, but Blu-ray glasses are important. I kept mine on all day today and I actually don't have a headache, and it helps with the screen, right? So like the glare of the screen isn't so harsh on your eyes. So getting them, not Blu-ray, blue light glasses, I think is important for remote workers just in their physical care as they work. That time blockers, take lunch. This whole thing of like, oh, they're remote, oh, they didn't respond, they said they're not available. Then, we go into this tornado. What are they doing? Eating? Taking a minute? It's okay. I have now, as far as what's happening at my company now, we don't have a remote workforce. However, as of today, we have 4 fully remote employees. And because we're maxed on office space, we do recognize we're in a situation where our remote workforce may increase. And we have to figure out, well, how do we manage this team? Right?
Your corporate team is all in the office.
All in the office. But
Oh,
in a mix between hybrid remote, like 3, some days in, some days out, and in 5 days. We have a mix of that, all in the office, and then we have some full remote. I will tell you though, in another employer, my previous employer, we had a number of remote people, about like 27 remote workers out of 200. Everyone else was in the office, corporate office, on like a hybrid remote. And what we did is you got to get them involved. So they have these really cool companies that will, like a in-office happy hour. And you have remote employees who say like, I've been on a computer all day. I'm not trying to stay on a computer and do something else. And that's a reality. But when it's something fun or something of the sort, or like some kind of food making activity, we would do that. We would send them the food kits or the box kits, or make sure that they had the deliveries on time, and then we do stuff with them so they still feel included, they still feel engaged, they're still having activities. But we would spread it out because they were already online all day. But that's how you can engage a remote workforce. But I would say for balance, time blockers, saying declining meetings. I don't care what your level is, it's necessary, and taking lunch. Absolutely.
okay. All right. Along those lines, with remote work comes, the technology, which is a good thing or a bad thing. Where do you stand on that? Is it a hindrance? Is it helpful? Are there things in tech that could be employed to help with work-life balance? What are your thoughts about that?
For remote workers?
Yes.
Any
And or just from a work-life balance perspective, can tech be helpful or is it a hindrance? What do you think?
Can tech be helpful? I think it depends what kind of tech, right? Like if it's AI, right? Could AI support the remote worker and maybe having more productivity in the time that they are working so that they're doing more, right? Like, let me put this into my AI platform, my chatbot, see what they come up with while I work on this project, and come back and edit it accordingly. Then I can send that out. I think it's a help. I know that there's a lot of conversation around AI, and if we have AI, we don't need workforce, and that's a whole nother conversation. But I think it does aid in supporting that remote employee doing more, having more. It increases their capacity because it's not their full capacity they're using. They could put it to other means.
Yeah, I think so. I think what one of the things that I was just suggesting to help with folks that feel like they are doing so much, not forget about remote or not, just from a work-life balance perspective, I feel like AI can help you get some of those tasks done quicker so that you have more time to yourself. And I was suggesting that we do more training around, instead of being afraid of AI. I feel like folks think, oh, that's a bad use. And I'm saying let's see what we can use to help us make our jobs easier.
Absolutely. It's working smarter, not harder. And I think that is the future state of people management. We don't need to fear AI. How can it serve us? I mean, especially HR is a discipline. We are usually undermanned. Everything is expected, every deadline. But when I ask for the head count, we are met with crickets, and you can get one person.
Yeah.
So that requires me to work creative, to think outside of the box. And if you're not going to give me an admin, then I'm going to have, and I just did a talk about this, I'm going to have AI be our admin and drop a whole bunch of things to AI. Can you make this onboarding schedule? Can you, draft this, new rule, new policy, whatever, to support kicking out the work? We got to do something. Yeah.
Totally. I'm going to piggyback or go back to what you had mentioned about, managing your calendar and your schedule and saying, declining a meeting, let's say. So how do you, that could be hard for some people, right? Saying like, no, I'm going to decline this meeting. How do you suggest one communicates that to, let's say, colleagues or superiors that, no, I'm not available at this time?
Lead with transparency. It feels uncomfortable at times to say no, but it's a whole sentence. And I think it's important to know your audience, right? Because saying no is still no, right? But when I know my audience, there's a way that I say that. And it's all tone and approach. So we want to be very clear. But I will say, leading with transparency, what does that look like? Hey, say if this is the director, you're a coordinator, you're a manager. I know that you sent me a calendar invite for Tuesday at 4:00, but based on my day and the mandated meetings that I have and can't move, I know myself and I'm going to be at capacity. So could we move this to this time? Because I want to ensure, based on what we're talking about, whatever A is, I want to make sure that I'm fully present for this meeting, given the nature of what we're discussing. And because it's important for me that once we finish, we are aligned, and I want to be present for that alignment. Keywords. I've worked for more CEOs, managing directors, that you can count. I'm at capacity is often used. And I had to come into that, right? But a huge part of work-life balance is holding the boundary line and establishing what they are. And you have to protect them fiercely because nobody's going to do that for you.
Love the way you put that.
Listen, it took some time to get.
Wow. And okay, so can we go through like a typical day? So you talked about your morning, you wake up really early, you have, spiritual time, You have, time for your content. Can you walk us through like what the rest of your day looks like?
Sure. Let me look at today, just so I have something to reference. So spiritual time. So you have your, as I say, 9 to 5 kind of, where I go through my meetings. I have been noticing, I will say, and I said this to myself, I think Tuesday this week, Monday, that I'm not having as much breathing room between my meetings. I need to have like maintain the 30 minutes, the 15 minutes. I'm still feeling good at the end of the day. I'm feeling full. If I feel like I'm at capacity before 5 o'clock, like say 4 or 3:30, I leave. I leave. And I leave the office. I'll go visit a store, right? I'll go see employees, check in. It's just, it feels good. I want to know how they're doing. These are still teams in my charge, and it doesn't feel like work. And then I'll head home. Once I get home comes the 5 to 9. So my planner is split in 2 sides. This side is all Magnolia Bakery. This side is Sisterhood Society. So we have an event happening, right? I have to go in and look at my spreadsheet of how many tickets did we sell today? What is that looking like? I'm following up with my my marketing lead. Like what sponsors did we secure? What partnerships do we have, right? This is going to be an announcement, so I can't announce it yet, but I have really big news coming, and it's for a program that I've worked on for a while. That's going to be announced soon, but I also work on my program to finalize like facilitators for this program as well. And all things for the launch event. We're announcing board members soon. So I have to make sure all the legal paperwork for the board members that transition, our bylaws are together. Everything that I just detailed is my 5 to 9. Now, there are days in the week where I have to do 5 to 7 on sisterhood because I have schoolwork, right? And so knowing that I'm a morning person, I'm not an evening person. If I do my schoolwork later, like that's 7 to 9, I'm not at my best. So I'll work on school or read whatever until I'm like, okay, I'm checking out at this point. Or I may switch it and do 6 to 8 schoolwork. And then, 9 is the cutoff for me, where I'll do like an hour worth of sisterhood. Remember, my content is already done from Saturdays in the morning, so I don't have to worry about it. It's really just managing the day-to-day with my nonprofit. We have a launch event, so there's more, and then the day-to-day with work. Wow. But my cutoff is 9, and then what happens after 9? Watch some TV, just relax and unwind.
Nice. Wow.
All right. So that just sounds so wonderful. You got it. You got it timed it down. But now let's throw in that you got your 9 to 5, 5 to 9, and it's end of year, and it's 401k audit, it's performance reviews, it's whatever. And now it's a high stress situation. And if that's not it, you pick. Let's talk about a high stress situation that's going on. How do you what strategies do you employ to be able to still maintain balance?
Getting ahead. And let's really go into what I mean by that. Stress can, I don't want to say always, but work stress, like 90 to 95% can be managed. You know what's something I never understood? You want to talk about thinking outside the box?
Please do.
We know annually we're going to have performance reviews, right?
Yes.
We know annually that takes a large chunk of time. Writing reviews for all the people. I have 7 people on my team, 7 direct reports. To write their reviews, to think about the reviews, to go back over the year, to write the reviews, it's taking a chunk of time. And employee relations, ER, comes in waves. Sometimes it's chaotic. Got this investigation, this follow-up. And I handle all employee investigations for the company. I don't distribute that to my team. but I know it comes in waves, and you never know when it's a lot. It's going to be going on, or very little is going to be going on. Why would I wait until the review cycle to do reviews?
Yep.
My reviews, last year's reviews, our review cycle for last year, right, started in February. We had like our first mini training to the organization last week of January, and started in February and then finished in March this year. Do you know when my reviews were written for my team? November last year. I drafted the review. At the end of December, when it's super dead, because a lot of people go on vacation and people go away, that last week or 2 weeks of companies, that dead time that you're like, oh, I'm not woosahing. Why would I do that? I'm prepping.
Yeah.
I already have my strategy for this year of all the things that I was going to work on, the timeline month by month. Do you know when I had that? Do you think I did that in January? Do you think I did that in December? I got that done last August.
Yeah.
My strategy for this year. So when I tell you, as far as like the stress, a lot happening at work, no, I'm managing my time. Right? We know the projects that we got to get done. We know what's coming down the pike. I'm waiting. What was I waiting on come January? Our headcount to get approved. The benefit stuff platforms that we wanted to, get done, get approved. Cool. Comms. When I wrote out the comms for these things that we pitched, we knew they were going to get it. We just was waiting on the yes. I wrote the comms that last 2 weeks in December. I wrote my comms. We're rolling that stuff out now.
Yeah.
The comms is done. And so I will say, look at your work calendar. When are the seasons? What quarters are your dead space, your light space times? Also, the top of January, super light. We are still in fourth quarter in January. And then we have another in our food business. We have another fourth quarter. So the fourth quarter for us is all, September to December, the whole thing drags into January. And then with Valentine's, we're slammed again.
Yeah.
It doesn't everything is done months in advance. So by the time the end of the year comes, I will say that last week of December, coming out of the hustle of the comms, the strategy, this, that, reviews, now it's actually the end of the year. Let me go back into the reviews I already wrote. Anything to add, anything to note? No? Great. They write their self-reflections. I go back and look at it again. Did I miss any key mentions? Nope. We're all good.
Well, okay. So here, I hear you. I meet with my team quarterly. So I have information to be able to do when I get to the end of the year, as opposed to trying to come up with all of that at the end of the year. So I'm a big, well, I won't say I'm a big prepper. I do prep. But there are still some things that I should do sooner, and I don't. What I'm looking for, one last thing, because we're running out of time here. What I'm looking for is, what do we tell our viewers who aren't a prepper, or let's forget about that. Let's just say it's just a high stressful situation that has occurred. What's one thing you would recommend to somebody that's like they're just about to lose their mind? What's the one thing you would tell them? And then Brandy, I'll let you wrap up after that.
Life starts at strategy. And there is no situation, professional or personal, that could be so unfathomable that we can't move forward. You have to have a plan. And anytime I have a leader or someone, an employee, a friend of mine, tell me I got this going on, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and I don't know what to do, and I can't get it out. Woosah. Okay, what's the plan though? What's the plan?
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I was going to ask if you could give one piece of advice, one last piece of advice. What would it be?
Okay, so now we need one more. You gave us one.
Yeah, you gave us
one more.
Strategy plan.
Yeah, have a strategy, have a plan. And I would also say having a strategy and having a plan is one thing, but that is the doing. Always have the being. And you have your being and maintain your being and prioritize your well-being by having rituals. So what I'll leave you with is, what is the self-care rituals that you can introduce today? What does that look like? Whether the top of your morning, even evening rituals. If you're not a morning person, what does that look like? So you can have wellness in your life, so you can ensure that you are connected to your body. You're in tune with your energy. You understand, you can feel and sense when you're approaching a point of completion before you get there.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get there? Having rituals, staying connected to yourself, having reflection time, having alone time, to sit with yourself, to meditate. It's important. Strategy and plan is the doing, and you need that. And that's where life starts, personally and professionally. But you need to have well-being in there. And it starts with rituals.
You're like the future version of me. No, I'm serious. Like,
we gotta have a call, Brandy. We gotta have a call
in the future. No, I'm serious. Like, you're like you're aspirational for me. So I just I want to thank you for that. And obviously thank you for being a guest. And my gosh, we have to have you back on. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe you told me.
We're going to go through them. We're going to go through our content calendar that Brandy put together before the year started. When we first got paired up and we had our first meeting. Before the second meeting, boom, here's the content calendar for the year. So, so Yasmeen, thank you so much for being here with us. We have to do a call with you and our guy Bubba and Kate, who you haven't met. We got to do a call with us. Brandy, thank you for doing this. Do we have any? One time we were on a call, and Brandy, you saw some comments that I did not. I looked on LinkedIn.
I actually had trouble. I pasted the link, but I had trouble sharing like the actual live because it was opening up and I can hear us talking and that. So I'm going to share it after this.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it doesn't look like we have any comments. So listen, Yasmeen, I just can't thank you enough. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. We
appreciate you. And Brandy, thanks for being here. Appreciate you. And thanks for our listeners, whoever we had on there. I saw Juna. Shout out to Juna, who used to work on my team. Thank you if you're on the call or listening. Girl, you need to call me. We haven't talked in a couple of years. So give me a shout out. I don't know where you're at. So give me a call, Juna. All right, everybody. Thanks. Have a great day.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.